please. Thank you guys for coming out today. We're so excited to have you. I love Wednesdays because of 1 Million Cups. Who is here for the first time today? Welcome. Well, we're glad to have you. We are an independent organization sponsored by the Kauffman Foundation, and we are entrepreneurs here to support entrepreneurs. So we're glad to have you. We have some exciting things going on today. Let's see. I just want to say thank you to our sponsors. Brick and Mortar Coffee every week sponsors our coffee. Thank you so much, Jonathan. The E-Factory allows us graciously to meet here every week, and we have a wonderful room for that, so thank you to the E-Factory. And Chris Lynn Video, every week he videos and edits the video, so thank you, Chris. And then Emerald is our social media and marketing manager, and she does a great job with that. So, well, we're glad to have you guys here, and let's kick it off with Cindy with the Give a Child a Voice Foundation.
Well, I want to thank everyone for coming today, and I consider it a great honor to be able to present. And if you've never presented a Million Cups, there's a great deal of work that goes into putting this off. So it's an awesome opportunity, and we really owe them a huge thank you for all they do. Well, on to the foundation. The Give a Child a Voice Foundation, a lot of you know I had the Cindy Lou book, so it's stemmed into the Give a Child a Voice Foundation, and it's going to be geared from pre-K to third grade. And because we just rewrote the mission, I'm going to read that to you because I'm not completely familiar with the proper verbiage. The Give a Child a Voice Foundation is fully committed to empower children by a shining light, bringing a very bright light to a dark subject. Our objective is to reduce and eventually eliminate all forms of child abuse, neglect, and molestation. Our logo, a yellow sunshine, is a friendly, eye-catching symbol which will become a beacon of hope to all children. This iconic image will represent a mission of awareness, education, empowerment, and action on behalf of all children. We will achieve this by teaching kids to stand up for themselves, be vigilant, and become a crusader for their own well-being. Children will learn their bodies are sacred and no one has the right to victimize them. They will learn tactics and strategies that can lead to prevention. The number of abused children continues to soar, and part of that problem is selective apathy. Many people consider child abuse too taboo to speak about. They would prefer to instead sweep the problem under the rug. As society, we have discovered that keeping such matters quiet only benefits the predators and offenders. The Give a Child a Voice Foundation will become the nation's leader in effectively and tactfully educating children. Okay, so she already messed up on the next slide. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Are you ready? Okay. Well, why a foundation? Well, it gave me the ability to reach more parents, grandparents, foster parents, and educators, and receive the much-needed funding to make this project a reality. In the past, I would go to different businesses and I would ask them for money because I was just trying to be a mom who cares a whole awful lot. Well, that's great when they're giving you $600 or $700, but to make this a bigger dream, we need to be the foundation and get that 501c. So, and I will also get greatly reduced rates for publishing of the books. In the process, well, I actually Googled it at first, and it says get a board. So I went and got me an awesome board, and then the 501c3 was kind of scary because the prices are really huge, so I had to work through that. And so we did, and we've made the decision to have no overhead cost whatsoever. Then the cost will only be for making the projects happen and the events. It's going to be run strictly volunteer, and the office has been donated. It's out of my home for right now. And I've been asked, won't you get burnt out? Well, I've already been doing this for 15 years, and I'm still standing here, so I doubt that I'm going to get burnt out. So, and I really believe once we get our legs, this is going to be one of the easiest foundations to just keep going and thriving. I went to a non-for-profit convention, And there's so many awesome non-for-profits here in town, but they have so much overhead and so much on their plate when they're actually caring for the kids one-on-one. Well, we're going to be educating them. So once we get that first video made, that thing can go nationwide, worldwide, whatever. You know, it can just keep growing. So we're in it to win it. And the odds a child will suffer one form of abuse or another is 1 to 3. Sexual abuse in girls is 1 to 4 reported. Sexual abuse in boys is 1 to 5 for boys reported. So that's a real scary statistic, and the word reported is extremely frightening because we know many of them go unreported. And there's 3 reasons no one wants to discuss child abuse. A, they want to pretend it doesn't happen, and 3, it brings up bad memories. The number 3 reason was no one wants to talk about child abuse because they feel they don't have the proper verbiage to speak to their children. Well, we give you that. And those statistics show us that we have to take a whole new approach. And what we've been doing is throwing drowning children life preservers, which is great, and we have to continue to do that. But our approach is to keep them on safe ground. Prevention is our goal, education is key, and knowledge is power. Our goal is to develop an evergreen project. That means it'll go year after year for pre-K through 3rd grade. And we're going to produce a high-quality video that is engaging to children with animation, live action, and songs. And the key to that is going to be songs. I've got a little granddaughter, and the minute that Disney Channel plays All Aboard the Choo Choo Train, and it's just like a 5-minute segment, she's up dancing and singing. So that's what'll put the whole lesson into their little brains, is once we develop these high-quality songs. And the Distribute a Friend manual is going to be 8.5 by 5 magazine quality. That way we can afford to give it to them year after year after year. And it'll go to all elementary schools, pre-K through 3rd grade, churches, preschools, and foundations. And by becoming the 501c3, we can finally get those donations for the larger amounts that apply. Because I have been promised larger amounts, and then when I got there, I wasn't a 501c3. I just needed to do that, so we're doing it. And like I said, again, we'll get cheaper prices on the printing. And nearly every child who is molested knows the no-touch drill, so I knew we needed to explain deeper. And there simply are good people and there are bad people, and we never keep a bad secret. And all children have a voice, and that is a powerful tool. All children have worth. All children have value and the right to say no. And if something happens, it's simply not their fault. And last year, CUPS has been good to me. And then last year when good folks in the community stepped up, like Ed Filmer and Doug and the sheriff, and I got all kinds of news coverage. Thanks to Jackie there. I got all kinds of news coverage, and from there it just kept growing and growing. So I was very blessed to get that going. Make sure to release. And we did have an incident in our family, so that's why I am so dedicated to this. And so we're going to make it happen, and Saturday, April 30th is going to be our first event. It's going to be a members-only concert at the Hotel V, and I got members only on board, and I would like help with getting sponsors for that and some t-shirts made, because I'd like to coat all of social media. Like when I met with Brent, he thought of it, like they would start performing in the yellow t-shirts with the yellow sunshine on them. So it would help get the word out. So that's it, and I appreciate your time.
Cindy, thank you very much. We're going to open it up to questions, but I wanted to start off by just saying thank you for sharing all that. And wanted to ask you, are you continuing to get the word out there through your marketing? Is it mainly through events, or are you doing social media, Instagram, Facebook, things like that are also like getting your message and your word out?
Well, we were just in the dirt. We've just literally started. So as things go on, I'll get, we're going to go for the grants and the different events, and it'll get out through social media, and we'll get some volunteers to help us get that out and help spread the word. And that's why I was thinking of the yellow t-shirt when Brent thought of that. If they performed at, I think if they were at Hammond's, I think it's still called that, doing that basketball big event the other day, he said if they would have had those t-shirts on, it would have got a massive amount of attention. So I'm just going to do that. And I'm 57, so I'm not the Twitter queen or the, Instagram. So I'll get someone who is, and we'll move ahead on that.
Hey, I was just wondering if you'd considered writing a blog to target, parents or teens, kind of older siblings of children that could be going through this, or just people that are concerned about those around them, because I mean obviously we can't just target the kids themselves. So I was wondering if you had more educational supplies or content to go around
Resources,
those
yeah.
people. Yeah.
No, but that is a good idea. And I've never done a blog, but everybody says when I text that is a blog, so I suppose we could blog. They're really long.
Cindy, 15 years into this, you've been doing Cindy Lou books. You decided to do the foundation here. What has been the biggest surprise in having to go this route with the business?
I just knew there were so many foundations that were doing, I don't know, it was overwhelming. I would go buy $1,000 worth of books, which I really don't have, and I would take them around and hand them out. Well, it was a good way to go broke really quick. So I did that for several years, and my husband was patient enough with me. While if we got cash, I just ran and bought books and handed them out. My books cost me $7 because they're high quality and they're 8 by 11 and they're full color. So this will just be the much better route. And with Cindy Lou Books, it's running itself now, and it's POD, which means print on demand through Amazon. And what's funny there to me is it's like, you think it'd be the ebooks. Originally, I hit that ebook boom, and I sold 22,000 books, and I was like, wow, this is it. And then I got someone to help me, and they took me out of business for 2 years. So then I fell to the bottom, and now it's the traditional books that sell. And it's none of these books. It's I named one book. I renamed the little girl. It used to be Julia, and I named it Alexis. Well, boom. I guess there's a lot of Alexises out of there. So then Alexis took off, or just different little things like that moms can relate to. So. But that's why we're going to go ahead and go with this, because last year when everyone did the taping of it, that was amazing because it got me attention, and it finally gave me credibility, and it got me on the front page of the paper and in 417 and SBJ, and it was just huge, and on TV. So it was a huge blessing, and I couldn't have done that without them. But we need the traditional format to go home to the parents. And I do truly believe the only way we're going to see change is to hit these babies one-on-one with this, and it's not scary. If you see my books or my videos, they're totally just sweet little stories, and they're not scary or threatening, and that's when we'll finally see change.
Cindy, you had a goal of producing high-quality videos and having songs and all that. You said that you don't have any overhead costs, budgeted, et cetera. How are you pursuing that goal in terms of the creation and the production?
Okay, well, when I meant overhead, I meant like as far as office or staff or the board members not being paid. We're going to do this event, and then at that point I can go, like I've gone to the Dars and the O'Reillys, and they were like, yeah, way to go, and then I wasn't a 501c. So once I'm a 501c, I can get those grants, I can get those donations, and I strike a chord with everyone when I speak to them. So I just have total and complete faith that will come. So as far as that goes, I'm open to other producers. But for 8 years, I've hung around with Sam Sandora, and he's had this as his dream to make this. He wanted to make it a fully animated Pixar quality video. Well, we're looking at $150,000 for a little 10-minute video. So like I said, I was watching the Disney Channel, and Marley jumps up the second she hears that little choo-choo, and she just starts rocking it and dancing it. So I say it's the kids with some animation, and those songs are going to be the magic to it. Because you know how you get a song in your little brain, and it's there for life, and that's when we'll see change.
Thank you, Cindy. Just a couple things. One, anybody who knows anybody who's had an incident like this is such a sobering subject. Is there a line that people can call anonymously? For instance, gentleman here mentioned older minors, like someone 15 or 16 years old with rape and things like that. Is there a line attached to your organization that they could call in? That's my first question. And the second question is, yes, whoever mentioned about the Bass Pro Tournament of Champions would be great. But you have a couple other great opportunities coming up with the Price Cutter, the golf tournament tour that comes through over there by Highland Springs. But again, I want to thank you again, because this is such it's a huge problem that nobody really wants to address. So thank you again for what you're doing.
Well, thank you. And it was hard. My dad even told me, my dad's not here, but he told me, shut up, you're too old and you need to stop. And so all my family pretty much, except for my kids, were like not on my team at all. And I went on for 15 years, went back to school at 50. Graduated a couple years ago, so I am devoted. And as far as people calling, my biggest following with these books is people who are older. Because the books, it kind of gets stuck in the books, the pages, just give them comfort and hope. And I was actually stuck. I didn't know that until I went back to Drury. They had a meeting and they were like, why do these pictures look like this? And I'm like, because I can't draw. And they kept going, that's not it. And so I went in for meetings, and then I go, finally, they're like, what are you trying to do? I go, I'm trying to get down the yellow brick road. Okay, that's how I really felt, and I had a baby voice at the time. Well, then a week later, my phone rings, and it's a child called David Peltzer. It's his combat psychologist. They had bought my books, they'd seen my videos online, and I had that baby voice, and they said I'm going to get eaten alive by the world. So they started counseling me, and for 3 hours, he goes, what is your word? And I'm like, empower a new generation with the tools to be safe. And he said, a word. And he's yelling at me, and I'm like, oh my God. And he just keeps yelling, and I didn't expect the phone to ring, and he's cursing, too, along the way, and a lot. And so then he goes, what's David's word? And I was in a child abuse class, so I said, child abuse prevention. He's like, are you serious? What the blah? And yelling at me. He goes, I said a word, and he's cursing, and I'm like, oh my Lord. And I never did cry because I knew someone needed to slap me across the face. So I kept taking it, and he goes, David's is vigilance, or resilience, because he was resilient. He can talk to cancer patients. He can talk to anyone because of what he went through. So he's the one who toned me down from saving the world to saving a child and giving a child a voice, because he said people could relate to that better. So at the end of all of this, a 3.5 phone call, you could see my office through the phone, and it looked like you stepped inside my books. I had clouds all over the sky, and the walls were bright Nickelodeon purple grape. And then all my pictures were up there, and he goes, girl, you're stuck. He goes, good ship, lollipop dice tonight. And I was like, oh my God. So then I started crying like a baby, and I had to go straight to school, and I was like, oh my God. So then I thought that's what they were trying to tell me at jury, was I was stuck. And then when I said good ship, lollipop, I was like, oh my God. I'm trying to get down the yellow brick road. They must have thought I was a complete nut, but I was stuck. And I didn't realize it, and I think that's where my biggest fan base has been, is different victims of child abuse. So it's cool, and it's a way to help. And he said as long as I knew that's what it was for, it would work.
So Cindy, I just want to say
Hi.
Congratulations on how far you've
Thanks.
come. This is awesome. And my question is collaborating with other nonprofits. So I know jumping into the nonprofit world is fairly new. But like, for instance, I was just at a meeting last night for a bunch of nonprofits that were all vying for community block grant, or community development block grant for the city. And Child Advocacy Center and some of those other nonprofits may really benefit from your books and your materials, and would like to collaborate with you. And then also, you may have said it, and I apologize, I missed it. The process in gaining a nonprofit. Tell us about that process and how scary or long it may have been.
Because we are in the dirt, or we were in the dirt, I started out I happened to be out one night late, and the odds of me out night late was really bizarre, because Mystery Hour said we're going to have an after party, and Jeff supported me, so I thought, I'll go over there, and I thought, after party, this could get crazy. But it wasn't. It was just people having a couple drinks, and it was like, I was talking to some young, when you're 60, almost everybody's a kid, so this kid, and he was so nice, and it was John McQuarrie, and he said my passion was so real that he would do whatever he could to help me, and so I had the Hotel V, and so then I called members only. Well, I shared my story, I had them, and so that was back in September, so I and then I've got like the Hillbenders and a couple other little things going, and it's just because I shared my story and I got them, but I didn't have anything, and I had a great board, but things were going on, and I didn't want to bother anyone, so I wasn't quite sure what to do, and I even went to a 501c, that convention, and I listened to, gosh, I don't want to say the name wrong, but it was on being a leader, and I thought, man, and I realized I was searching for a leader. I had to be that leader. And so finally, a few weeks ago, Stacy's on my thing, I'm like, I'm going to lead this thing, and we're going to do it. And we've got the 501c funding. We got the band taken care of. Everything's good. And so we're going to sell this out and make the funds. But mostly it's not being afraid and just doing it, because I was in really uncharted waters, and I was drowning, and I had to choose not to drown and swim. Hi.
Cindy, thanks a lot for doing it. It's a great thing you're doing. I want to tell you that you can be a Twitter queen at 57. Okay.
A what? A what?
You can be a Twitter queen.
Oh,
or a
thank
social
you.
media
I just
queen.
wanted him to repeat it. I really heard it.
My question is related to, tell me a little bit about your team. Like how many people you are, they are full-time, part-time, or or how the team looks like who's doing this work.
Okay, well, we've got the board, and we're going to actually have our first meeting on February 4th at Ocean's End. And the way I see this was, we've got like Greene County Sheriff Jim Arnott, I've got Lauren O'Reilly, Stacy James, Don Schaefer, April Harrell's going to do the accounting, and the accounting's going to be totally open book to everybody, everything, because it is all donations. And I've got Sam Sandora, I've got Christy Folnicki, Liz Delaney, and my son, Eric Dennis, who's why I do this. But as far as to see how it goes, I've got the office, which is in my home, and I'm going to, once we get the funding for this video, Sam's wanted to do it, like I said, for 7 years. If he can bring it, he can bring it. If he can't, he can't. Because we've got to keep it at $50,000. I feel that's enough for the songs. He had said that quote, so if I'm out of reality, I don't know. But to do that with just a bit of like one-dimensional animation is all that, like on that choo-choo train thing. And then the kids dancing, I think, will be huge as opposed to an animated video. So I just know once we get that done, I can burn as many of those as I want to burn. And they can go to every school. And then I'm going to get businesses to donate the books, because they were going to before, but I wasn't a 501c3. So we'll get the businesses to donate the books and just rock it. And I'm going to do this whole area. And once I've conquered this whole area with the team, then we'll just go out, because like it is all free. And I donate a lot of time to this, but this is my purpose. So I felt any money we would get shouldn't go to an office. It shouldn't go to any kind of a staff. It'll just be like we're in it to win it. We're going to make it happen, because it's not like other foundations where you're out saving the kids in the trenches. We're going to do preventative, and we can do that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I hope so. Any other questions?
Yeah, so you mentioned your target audience is like pre-K through third grade.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you were going through talking about, you know, the numbers, the reported numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like you really want to get into those unreported numbers and helping those children.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of how are you going to do that? Because, you know, I would think, you know, abusive parents or family members or friends or whatever aren't going to go buy those books for their kids, and they control the money. So how are you going to get that information to those kids, and how are you going to identify those kids if they're not already reporting or those incidents aren't being reported?
Exactly. Okay, years ago, I went to the school district and I gave them my books, and I said, you could make these into a weekly reader, which dates me. And they kept them for months. They gave them back, and they said, these will never enter the door. Never will these enter the door. And they're not scary. They're super cute. But they said they just never entered. The parents didn't want to hear it. Well, now here we are years later, and we've had the Haley Owens incident. The day after I was at Cuffs, I got a phone call from Rhonda Mammon, and she said I could bring it into the school district. So that's how we're going to do the preventative. In New Zealand, they do preschool, period. You don't have to. The parents, you know, they just start teaching you, because you do have rights. You're born with rights. And they teach them that they have these rights. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing now. We're going to go in and we're going to show them, this is it. It's fun. We'll do it through little songs, and they'll get to take the book home. Their parents will have their book, and they can share it with them. And I did. I volunteered a number of places, and I was so excited when, you know, everyone read them online, and I was sharing them to everyone, and I didn't realize the place I was at, they were leaving their kids. So I was totally like not into what was going on, and so they weren't into the subject. So what we've got to do is get the babies while they're little, and that's the only way we're going to see change, is when we start with those babies and start teaching them that they have worth and that they have a voice that'll empower them, and that's the only time we're going to see change. We're waiting for, like I said, for them to drown and then just throwing them a life preserver, which is awesome, and we have to do that, but we've got to save them before they start drowning.
Cindy, thank you so much. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you.
Of course, we always want to end every presentation, you know, and you're so enthusiastic. It's wonderful to see just your passion for the subject. And but we want to know, and we always ask, what can we as a community do to help you?
Well, if you know of anyone who want to sponsor this or attend this event, it's going to be super cool. The word is out. And I could use some sponsors with that. My phone number's up there. And I would really like to see the yellow T-shirts. Are they going to be black, like with the yellow sunshine on them, so they'll pop? And you can put your business on the back if anyone has a connection for that, or some stickers to put on businesses. That would be super cool. And that I just want, like, everyone has their symbol, but I've always thought that is so eye-catching to children. So think if you walked in, like, the breast ribbons everywhere in Sam's and everything's pink. Think if you saw that. It'd be so cool. Or a NASCAR. I know my son going, don't say NASCAR. A NASCAR going down it with that, or just whatever. Football players all in yellow. The pink has made a huge impact. So once we do that, and just, it'll show predators that we're done playing, and, you know, and kids will identify with that symbol. So that's it. Thanks. Thank you. You take it out?
All right, guys, we have another awesome presentation coming up, but first we have some announcements. And as you guys know, if you've attended before, this is where we post all of our announcements. There are a lot of really cool organizations and groups and resources that you guys have access to. So I'm not going to read through each of these because there are a bunch, but I'm just going to call out the SB TDC. If you guys have a small business or you're thinking about starting a small business, they have some awesome programs and events that you can attend and get help with that. The Real Estate Investors Group, Brad and Sean, contact them if you have questions about that. Monthly meeting at the Hilton Garden. NK, contact him if you have any questions about Project Management 101 training or Agile User Group, which takes place here at the E-Factory both. Something wanted to call out real quick. Schweitzer is hosting, it's an 8-week series, and it's called Business as Ministry. So basically what it's designed for is how do you take the mindsets and the practices that you kind of go in and you get at church into the work week on Monday through the week. So each week, these are led by other various community members. Tonight's at 6:30 to 7:30 is being hosted by Chris Langston with 40 Digits, and he's talking about visioning for your company. Now, this is geared for business owners. So, but again, it's a really cool thing. And then we have Nathan. Well, and then we have the Dr. John C. Maxwell Mastermind Leadership Development Coaching. And if you guys have questions about that, contact James Bond. Raise your hand. Did he head out? Okay. So that kind of is self-explanatory, kind of what that is. And then finally, Innovate Springfield. These guys came in and presented at 1 Million Cups, and they have a really awesome event coming up in just a couple days. So we're actually going to invite Nathan Gregg to come up here real quick and just kind of share a little bit about what to expect.
Yeah, so most of you probably saw me 2 weeks ago present about Innovate Springfield, and I just wanted to remind everyone that it's coming up this Saturday. So if there's any students in the room, please talk to me afterwards. It's a really awesome event for you guys to learn how to start your own businesses and gain experience before you go out into the real world. Any community members here, please talk to me as well. We would love to have you show up for the community portion. Your voice is very important when it comes to choosing who the winning team is. So please come up to me afterwards. I know we're on a tight schedule.
Thanks. And they've already tried this concept up in Kansas City and blew it out of the water. So let's show up. Let's help these guys out and make sure it's a success here as well. And yeah, so an announcement we don't have up here. As many of you guys know, if you've been attending over the last 5 or 6 months, we've been seeing some new blood come in from an organizer standpoint at 1 Million Cups. In the form of Craig Jameson. You guys have probably seen Jonathan Putnam up here. He's coming on board as an organizer. And unfortunately, we also see organizers that are kind of exiting as the role of organizer. And today is Sterling Huff's last day here as a 1 Million Cups organizer. And as you guys probably know, or maybe not, he's one of the founding organizers. So 3.5 years ago, he and Devin had this vision of how a resource like this could be really beneficial to a community like Springfield. Not only helping entrepreneurs out, but then providing you guys a window into what's happening from an entrepreneurial standpoint by giving you guys this platform to come and view. And so we're going to hear a little bit from Sterling here at the end of today, but I just really quickly wanted to say, while it's exciting to see the new organizers come in, it's also kind of sobering to know that Sterling is going to be no longer present on Mondays and Wednesdays when we get together, because he's always been that kind of voice of reason. Generally, he's the one that, you get 5 or 6 type A's around a table. He's usually the last one to talk, first one to listen, and he's able to take what we're all bickering about and then take it and simplify it and put a plan of action into place. And so if things are a little bit crazy over the next couple months, you know why. It's because Sterling is no longer an organizer. But again, we'll be hearing more from him at the end of this, and just wanted to real quickly personally say thank you, because he's personally become a mentor as well for me. So just... All right. If you guys haven't heard of the Tether Tug and you have a dog, you are about to get really excited because this is one of the coolest things since sliced bread, right? These guys have actually become really good friends of mine and also kind of mentors as well. Just going along with them during this path of business development, it's really cool. Some of the hurdles they've run into and have overcome. So I will let them go ahead and tell you. This is Dave and Matt with Tether Tug.
Thanks, Philip. So I'm Dave Hayford. I'm here with Tether Tug, and I know a lot of you right now are thinking one thing. What the heck is a tether tug? Well, it's kind of like when we were in 8th grade, the best way to learn something is to watch a movie. So let's watch a movie.
The Tether Tug dog toy is an interactive outdoor toy designed to keep dogs healthy, happy, and entertained. Its unique design allows the puller to turn, flex, and flip the toy back and forth, providing valuable cardiovascular exercise to dogs of any size or activity level. The Tether Tug provides the interactive play all dogs need to prevent destructive behavior and stay mentally active. A variety of fun, interchangeable toys keep dogs engaged in hours of energy-burning play. So isn't it time for your dogs to pull, tug, and spin their way to better health? Visit tethertug.com today.
And that is a Tether Tug. It was born out of necessity for dogs to play because as we all know, if you take a dog for a 2-mile jog, they want to go 4. You take a dog and you throw the ball 50 times, they want you to throw it another 50. And at my age, I'm only good for about 10 throws anyway, and my dogs want to keep going. So we wanted to find some help keep dogs healthy, happy, and entertained, and they want to eat your couch that way. So we're here. Tether Tug's been around for a little over 2 years. And I'd like to come up here and tell you that we wrote a really crafty business plan that was really visionary. But when I say we didn't really write a business plan, that's accurate. We kind of made this up as we were going along. And when I say we didn't do a lot of product research, we didn't do any product research. We had an idea, and the only thing we knew is that there was nothing like a Tether Tug on the market. So we kind of invented the toy, and we had to figure out some way to get it out in the marketplace. And the first place we wanted to go was out to the retail market. And the guys at Petsway, was Pet Warehouse, were really kind to us, and they helped us out. But as we tried to broaden that base a little bit, we were told a couple of things. Is one, it doesn't display very well. Is that it would just sit on a JPEG like that, and it would look like a stick with a rope. It didn't really talk. I thought it was okay. The other part we found out was that it doesn't ship. This is a 5-foot 3-inch piece of fiberglass. It doesn't fit on a pallet. It doesn't stand up on a pallet. So the first place we went to make our money was with retail, and we realized that we didn't know what we were talking about. You're going to find that a couple times in this presentation. The next thing we wanted to do was we knew if people could see it talk, okay? If we could see it talk, if we could get into DR, the world would be ours. So if we could get to the as seen on TV. So we were into this about a year, and a DR company that was a real deal, they had products in the marketplace, called us. How cool is that? And they said, hey, we want to make a commercial for Tether Tug, and we're going to put it out there. So the way it goes is Tether Tug puts a little money in the game, not a lot, but enough to pay attention, and they make this commercial, and they're going to go and test it nationwide, and they're going to do it for a week. And they said, when we do our test, and they have this little matrix that they put together, they said, we're going to test it for a week, and if you guys can sell 167 units in that 1-week test, we will buy tens of thousands a month. We hadn't sold tens of anything a month at that point. We sold that, we were at 1,000 or so by then a month, but like tens of thousands. But we had to sell 167 in 1 week. No big deal, right? We didn't sell 100. We didn't sell 60. But we did sell 7. We got 7. So the pathway that we went along, and we thought Tether Tug was going to make us all rich, we had to go take our yacht back. Isn't that cool? Look at that little, right there. Kind of makes me seasick looking at it. Didn't work. But we did have a couple things that did work for us. Last November of 14, we were working with a company called Coupa. And Coupa is like Groupon for pets. So you sign up, you register with them, they send you emails, and you get your discounts. And we'd done okay with them. Usually they run they run it for about a week. And we would do okay. We'd sell 150 or something a week with them. but it was kind of getting busy. And we got a phone call, and I don't remember the exact day, but I think it was like Black Friday. And the guy who runs Coupa calls me and says, hey, so how you guys doing on inventory? I'm a salesman at heart, so I told him what I wanted to tell him. We're doing great. We're doing fantastic. He goes, well, I think on Monday you're going to have orders for about 400. We had about 4. And in the Scout's honor. And we could only build about 100 a day if we were killing it at the time. So just like, you guys going to be okay? Of course we're going to be okay. We can do that. We came in on Monday. We were about 5 or 6 days behind, and our distributors blew up, and we didn't know what happened. Ends up that Coupa was able to get us onto a Facebook site called I Love My Dog. Has about 1.5 million followers. They got video like that one on there, and all of a sudden we start seeing, well, people actually do see our videos in a different marketplace. We can do better. The next thing that happened was back in June of this year, our website was doing good. Matt's going to talk about how we've kind of done some stuff. And you can see we were kind of putzing along here. And then in June, we had this little spike. We had no idea what happened. Our website was doing, like, say, it was doing like 5 to 8 a day. And then I'm sitting there in the back, we're working, making tugs. And you just watched our computer to go ding, ding, ding. What the heck is going on? We had no idea. We're getting calls from distributors. What promotion are you guys running right now? Like, I have no idea. There was a guy who tried to knock our toy off. And he made something like ours, a different version of it, and put it onto a German Shepherd, I Love My German Shepherd Facebook site. 3.5 million people. Put a video of his dog playing with his toy that was knocking ours off. Used almost the same words and everything. It was really kind of funny. But he couldn't sell it. And the people were going on, they're going, where can I get one of these? Where do I buy one of these? And they're like, I don't know, I'm working on it. One of our customers, which was so awesome, put our video up and said, hey, if you really like that, try this. So when this guy went to go knock us off, we sold in that one 24-hour period over 1,000 pieces because of him. So that was the day. I know, isn't that awesome?
We sent him a nice card.
Yeah, bless his heart. Got a fruit basket from us and everything. You're awesome. So when we did the Coupa thing that November, that's when we realized we went from being a hobby to being a company, that we were going to be real. When this guy happened in June, we realized that if we can find ways to get into the right places social media-wise, we can keep growing. So Matt's going to tell you what he's done to make that magic happen.
I don't know if it's magic, but social media has definitely been what has vaulted Tether Tug out. And a lot of businesses can't say that their entire business is built around Facebook. Well, ours is. And there's been kind of 2 big shifts with what we did with Facebook. The first one is right when we started, we chose Facebook as our platform, and that's what we were going to dedicate to, because we wanted to build a community of our people. So right off the bat, in November of 2013, I guess is when we started trying to gain some followers. We gained about 2,000 people very quickly that were interested in dog-related items. We probably got maybe 100 out to the market, and that really became our testing ground. And that was really interesting, as our customers wanted to help us make our toy better. We initially came out, you can see our toys up there. The red one was the only toy we had, and we thought every dog can play with that, no problem. 150 pounds, no problem, it'll go. Well, that little corgi, his name is Drake, 5 minutes, snapped it. But he had so much fun in that first 5 minutes that his owner wasn't mad, but she called us and said, hey, he loved this so much, can you make a stronger version for my dog? Absolutely, we can. So what our community allowed us to do was see all these other types of dogs playing with it, but more than anything, it let Dave and I say, we're sorry, we tried this, we know it's not working, but we'll fix it for you. And that's really what created both our brand, not just the toy, but every one of our customers knows us as incredibly responsive. We sent new toys to every single person that broke instantly. Didn't question it, didn't that, we were going to send you a new toy, or we're going to make a new size. So we made the first new size. Great. Drake broke it again. Made the XL. He's a corgi, but he broke the XL toy. We just now, in the last month, launched an Uber size, which is made for 100-pound dogs. Not a single one's broken yet, but that's because our users were asking for it. Again, they're not angry, or if they are angry, it was really interesting, they would be really angry until we said, hey, we know that they break. We're sorry, we're trying to make it better. We'll send you one as soon as it comes out. Instantly, they turned into our best customers. So the community has really been a huge, huge part for us. The second thing, and I'll go back to our slide here, Facebook, around this point is when we switched our advertising from Google and other traffic platforms to Facebook. And as anybody with an e-commerce site knows, traffic is the key. Traffic conversion rate and average selling price. So you have to get a bunch of people to your site. We were getting quite a few people. We were doing between $6,000 and $10,000 a month on our website, which you think is pretty good. But we knew we could scale that more. So I started doing a bunch of research into Facebook, and I found how cheap the platform can be if you get your ad in front of the right audience and target it correctly. Once we did that, we started scaling the business very quickly. So we went from 40, 70, 90-cent clicks that we were getting on Google to 9-cent clicks because we could target it down to our dog users so much. You can convert a lot of sales when you take your ad cost 10% of what you were paying. So that's where the scale started. So once we knew what worked, that's when we started scaling the advertising, and that's where we got to these sales that we went from 10, maybe 12,000 a month to now doing 35,000 a month just on our own e-commerce website. The other thing that it did too, besides the targeting that we can do with that, is it's great for our partner sites. Dave talked about places like Coupa. We have probably, 50 to 75 other e-tail sites, including Amazon, that sell our product, not just us. Active Dog Toys, lots of those that you've probably seen before. As we scale our advertising, their sales go up too. So we see a kind of a volume balloon back again, how this is scaling so quickly. It's not just us selling that, it's everyone selling that. But Facebook has been huge for this, and that's really our main source of traffic. I'm going to skip through, I'm going to kind of briefly touch on this. If you have questions, obviously you can answer those at the end. But in December 2015, our website traffic, we had about 22,000 visits to the site. That's up from about 9,000 December of 2014. Most of that is to either our Facebook traffic or our organic search. You can see this is the breakdown of what we had this last month. And then our Facebook stats were about 11,000, just over 11,000 people. With the amount of posts and ads we do, we get to about 90,000 people a day with our different ad platforms. One of the really interesting things, this video that you saw, can you get, let me see if I can get that to play. So a user gave us this video, and I just asked if we could use it. It was their dog's first interaction with the Tether Tug. So once I saw it, I fell in love with it, and I asked him for permission to use that. We launched this in October and targeted it at the normal people we target at, and we got about 3,000 shares just of that. Then we targeted, this is a Border Collie Australian Shepherd dog. They are fanatical users. So in December, on December 10th, I targeted an ad just at those users of this dog. It ran for 15 days, and we got another 3,000 shares and almost 300,000 views on that video just in that 15-day span. So if that talks about how dog lovers are fanatical, it's for sure. So we've had almost 6,000 shares with that. How we plan to grow in 2016, we've got international sales as a big part, and then also expanding our brick and mortar retail. Trying to get into that. Really all of our sales, 95% of those are online. We're really not in any major retailers. We're exploring some new traffic platforms, and then we've got a couple new products that we're going to launch out with. So. And that's the presentation. So.
Dave and Matt, thank you so much. Yes, pet lovers are fanatical. You really just kind of guessed your way into incredible success here. No master plan, no master marketing at the beginning. Your competitor sells your product for you more than anything else at the beginning. But at the beginning, what was that idea creation? What did that look like? How did you come up with this thing versus a different product?
A lot of beer. The story behind this is very interesting. That my business partner, this guy named Dr. Roger Huckfelt, his son is a nursing student, and he has a 3-legged dog, and he'd come home from work, and the dog just wanted to outplay him. So he kind of got a little creative, and he ended up putting like a PVC pipe with a fishing pole in it, and then with some rope attached to it, and put it in his front yard, and the dog would play with it for about 5 minutes, and then it would break. But while he's doing this, people would walk by and go, "That is really interesting." So he kind of would play around with it a little bit, and then eventually told his dad and said, "You know, Dad, I'm doing this, and people really seem to like it." And Roger brought it back to our office, and the name of my book, when I never write it, would be "We Are Not Going to Sell a Dog Toy." Because he showed that to me. I'm like, "Dude, we are not doing that." He goes, "No, we're going to." "No, we're not." So he goes, "No, either we're going to do it or somebody else is," because I really think there's some legs to it. And Matt and I, we told him no. Like, this will never sell, this isn't going to work, and we are reminded of it daily. The more we sell, the more he reminds us of it. Like, "You guys didn't want to do this." "I know, sorry." So that's kind of how it all came about.
Good morning, great story.
Thank you.
Enjoyed hearing about it. I'd like to know on your at Facebook, Advertising, did you hire someone to do that, or did you do it yourself?
We do it in-house. Yeah, I take care of that. So we actually had, when we were doing Google and some other things, we had service provider doing that for us and brought it back in, knowing that we could scale it better that way. I basically listened to every e-commerce podcast in the world on my drives in, and you can learn a lot by doing that. So it's basically homegrown. And I now know a whole lot about Facebook I didn't know about a year ago.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
So I have two questions. It looks like a neat product, but you said shipping was, you were told that that was a problem with it. So how is that working for you now with all of your e-commerce to ship them individually? And then are you thinking about expanding into other products next?
The shipping was a nightmare. And this is one of those, talk about we didn't draw up a real good business plan. So we'd get our first orders, and we literally didn't know how much it was going to cost to ship it because we didn't have the dimensions of our boxes and things like that. We get this out now. We do something called Smart Post. We ship it in a triangular box. And shipping's all based upon the volume of the box. That'd be right to say. We do something called Smart Post. FedEx picks it up, takes it to your local post office, and drops it off. It's $10 per individual toy. That's easy enough for us to do. It's getting it to a distributor who then has to get 4 of them to a single store somewhere in Iowa. That's the part that's hard for them because they can't just lay it down flat. They can't stack it up next to the dog food that's going to be on that same pallet. We're getting closer to where we can. Future products, yes. There's a couple things that we're working on right now. We're working on getting a cat toy. We are working on doing some different things with ours. We're trying to keep it within the pull tug concept, though, trying to make that our brand. Does that answer you?
Shipping is really interesting, too. When we launched out, FedEx and UPS had a certain way they calculated shipping. And then that was November 2013 is kind of when we started really going. January of 2015, they completely changed it to where it was volume-based, where it was length times this plus a calculation. So our 5-pound box is shipped like a 22-pound box now. That changes a lot of things when you're trying to do shipping. So we've had to scale and change, and I think I'm probably the world's expert on FedEx Smart Post now to try to figure this out. We're ½ an inch inside of the dimensions to be able to ship that way. It's crazy.
Hey, I think this is an awesome idea, and being able to just sit back and watch your dog expend energy is brilliant. But I was wondering what you guys were doing for remarketing to the audience that's already buying from you, and if you, you are expanding into other products, so if you were planning on doing things where you could upsell, kind of one-click purchase after buying, similar to Amazon, stuff like that.
Yep. Great question. We do a couple things for remarketing. We capture everybody that comes to our site through Facebook's custom audience tabs, so we know everybody that comes through and can remarket them back that way. This year, one of our biggest focuses is putting in email automation, so we can do exactly what you said of resell them our current or the new toys we're starting to come out with, so they can get replacement ropes and other things, and then also getting into affiliate marketing with the same. So yeah, we're definitely looking into that this year. It's one of our big focuses.
Hey guys, I really love this product. I have 3 quick, easy questions. First is I have a 80-pound Australian Shepherd Blue Heeler mix. Which one would you recommend for me? What's the retail cost of it? And can I get a bro deal later, possibly?
This is the newest one we came out with. Okay, let me.
It's a tree trunk, basically.
Just for comparison's sake. So this is the first one, okay, that we came out with. That no dog will ever be able to break this. Okay, look at the difference in them. So for your 80-pound Blue Heeler mix, this is called our Uber, and that's what we would recommend. Yes to the third question. What was the second one? What's the retail cost of this? Retail cost. Our best seller, the extra large, is $60, $55, $50, $65. I could probably say those in better order, it'd make more sense, but starts at 50, works up to 65, depending upon the size.
Cool stuff again, guys. Really cool. A question for you. Have you ever thought about, you mentioned the shipping because of the odd size of the box, yet it's very light. Have you ever thought about doing like a telescopic type of a program, or does that compromise the strength of the product?
When we get to the part about how can this community help you, I'll answer that. Because yes, but I have no idea how.
Okay.
So here's my question for you. How is we, as a community, how can we help you?
I am so glad he asked that. Did you know that was
If only
coming?
we had something prepared for it.
I know. Wow. Four things really. Number one, we have to find a way to make our toy a little bit differently. We've got a lot of good ideas. If we could find a way to make it smaller, to fit into a smaller box, and not compromise the integrity of the pole. We're just not engineers. We don't know how to do that, to answer that question. But yes, that is a huge part, because that leads us into them being able to do more retail. So the four things: one is to get the pole made smaller. Two is, of the business we do, 95% of it is some way related to e-commerce. Very, very little is actually retail. That's going to be a big push this year. We're going to Global Pet Expo, which is the biggest pet show in the United States, with that mission to go get more retail. So if any of you know somebody, you got a brother, a cousin that, I don't know, owns PetSmart, that's cool. We also need to get to international. Our international business is, again, a very, very small portion of it, and what we get comes to us. If any of you own, PetSmart Francais, that'd be cool too. So those are the places we need to get to. We need to get to retail better. We need to get more international business, change the size of our toy. And then the other thing, and those are our long-term goals for this year that we need some help with, that anybody who can help us would be great. We have this little toy here. It comes on a base. This is our indoor toy. And it does really, really good for toy dogs, small dogs, but we haven't found a good way to market it. When you try to make a video, you bring a dog outside and you get them to play with the pole is really, really hard because they're out of their environment. If you go into somebody's house with strangers and you want to videotape them, the dogs just lose connection with what they're supposed to do. We need a good video of this, of our indoor toy, and we need it quickly. So if there's anybody out there who's thinking, man, I would really love the opportunity to do something like that and be involved with these guys on a real narrow budget, come see us. The videos, like Matt says, the first one we did has over 160,000 organic YouTube views. Those aren't ones we bought. Those are ones that people see it. The second one, the spinning dog, was seen by, 100,000 people, 600,000 people. So it'd be kind of just like you want to be cool with us, and we can give you a toy to pay you and maybe some dog treats. So,
Dave and Matt, thanks very much.
thank you.
Also, if you guys want a Tether Tug, we've got a coupon. There's only 10 coupons available, but you get 50% off our website. So use that coupon code, first come, first serve.
There's your bro discount.
Great, thanks Dave and Matt. Excellent presentation. Cindy as well. Thanks again for sharing. Briefly, you give me a mic and it's always a scary thing, because I was writing out what I wanted to say today and it was going on 2 pages and I'm like, nah, they're not going to sit there that long. It's been a really great ride with 1MC, and thank you to all of you people in the audience for coming out and supporting this thing. Without the fire of Rick Thomas in the back, without the fire of Devin Dillon initially, and Chad Carlton's hard work, this thing would not have come off the way it has. And also I want to thank the other organizers here, Philip and Jonathan and Craig and Debbie and Jennifer. This is a lot of hard work, but it's a lot of fun too. The fun outweighs the hard work, and this is bittersweet in a way. But the good thing is, entrepreneurs are not necessarily concerned about what happened 2 years ago, or how necessarily we launched this thing. They're looking in the future, and that's the way it should be. So I'm going to stay involved from just an advisory basis. So I'll be back, and I really love this audience. It's been really fun working with all these young guys. I know what you mean. At 57, they're all kids to me in a way. The energy, that's what happens when you get old. You get knocked down so many times, you get this ability to listen, and you speak less because, you don't want to be made to look like a fool. But anyway, thank you to the E-Factory and all the people for their support of us, and all of our supporters over the last 2 years, 2.5 years. We're going to go forward, and I would appreciate everyone continued support. And at the end of the day, this thing doesn't happen unless we have people that are willing to get up and present, which is not an easy thing to do. You know, it's not easy to get up here and talk about your dreams or what you want to do because you're always worried about what someone's going to think in the audience. So I really applaud all the presenters over the last 2 years for getting up here in this space and presenting. So I don't know, I probably left something out, especially all the unsung heroes, such as our people that help with our coffee or help with our social media, all those interns that have really helped us out as well. So again, I'm done. Thank you very much. Have a good day.